responsible
Let me
for
ask
your
you
lustful
different
thoughts.
way.
That's fine. You can say it's not your responsibility, but just don't call yourself traditional or modest.
Well, let me
I
ask
am.
this a different
You're
way.
not.
That's fair.
Inside
we
of
can,
your-
we can,
Inside of your capacity as a bikini barista, can you name a single virtue of being a bikini barista? What is a single virtue? What about it is in any way virtuous?
I'm not going to answer that. Like, I don't know what you're trying to get out of that question.
Okay.
You literally are in a bikini with your ass out getting tips. I know how it works.
She wants
Okay.
Well, I just
Yeah, like,
just-
okay,
You
are you
can
not,
get tips just like
can you
strippers
not
get
be
tips.
a bikini, being a bikini and be
No,
a
I'm not-
Christian?
Yeah.
Like,
Can anyone, somebody, please explain to me how and why these people keep volunteering to show up on these podcasts just to embarrass themselves? It's beyond me.
Oh yeah, Didi got a podcast.
Man, welcome back to another episode of Ruling Class Podcast, or Didi Got a Podcast, and of course I'm your host, Didi, back up in this bitch with another video, man. Listen, if you're new to the show, we are thirsty to grow and to drink some of this water. You can help me out by liking this video and subscribing to the channel. But don't worry, I'm going to give you a sec to do that. We're trying to get to 50,000 subscribers, and as you can see, I got a long way to go. So I really, really appreciate you if you hit that subscribe button, hit that notification bell, man. I really, really appreciate it. Stay hydrated. All right, so listen. As you can see, I want you to check out the other platforms. I'm trying to grow on those platforms as well. But look, in my last video, man, I talked about my trip to Las Vegas. I talked about how it was my first time on a plane, and two of the most shocking things that I realized once I got to Las Vegas was, one, how it just seemed as if everybody was just so fluid and free, and it's like every other person I met was gay or bisexual, and it's like, has the world always been this way? Is it because I grew up in the Bible Belt? Like, why is it so ungodly everywhere I go? It's like nobody believes in God, no one has integrity, everyone's blurring the lines, and you don't have to really mean what you say. It's like people are just doing their own thing, and that was so eye-opening for me, especially being that I wanted to start doing street interviews. I chose a great place to start. Well, I came across this podcast clip, and I was like, I just can't believe what I'm just listening to. Like, this woman is literally verbatim the type of people I was interviewing, the type of people I was meeting, even off camera. Like, these people are everywhere across our world. Like, people that think this way, which is why it's so important to react to this, because another thing that I spoke about that I witnessed in Vegas was that with the things that we see on social media, a lot of times you think it's sensationalized, or people are blowing things out of proportions or exaggerating for content purposes. And while that does happen, the biggest thing that Vegas showed me was that, no, a lot of this stuff is real life. People really think like this and live like this in real life because there's no accountability, right? People do what they want. They don't believe they have to answer to God. They believe that what we do on this planet has no meaning, right? We come from stardust, right? There is no. It's just weird to me. We're about to react to a woman who is a bikini barista. So in other words, she serves coffee in a bikini, which, from a business model perspective, that's brilliant, right? You're going to sell a heck of a lot of coffee doing that, right? The problem is this person says that she's a Christian. She has it in her Instagram bio. She says she believes in God. She believes in Christian morals. Let's react to this together. This is mind-blowing.
I was just going to ask you something.
Sure.
You're a bikini barista, right?
Yes.
And a hardcore conservative, kind of. Or some, like, you're on leaning,
I'm not hardcore conservative.
You're leaning
no.
right.
Yeah.
So, and you don't like work?
No.
So why do you think, and you're a Christian, so
Yeah.
how are you a Christian and against sex work, but yet you're in a bikini all day serving food and getting tips?
You don't think that Christians?
That's
You
a
don't
good
think that
question.
Christians
I
can go
just
to the
don't-
beach in a bikini? You don't think that?
Yeah, but
Christians
that's
can-
still like that's like
How?
a lot of sex workers do like bikini barista.
Yeah, because
You're not
they're probably
practicing-
also
you're not-
selling their
Just
pussy on
let
the
You're
them-
not-
side.
Just let them.
You're not like you're not practicing modesty or anything that's in the Bible.
What's your
this,
definition of modesty?
Not being in a bikini.
Not being
Okay.
in a bikini.
So you wouldn't let your wife at the beach in a bikini?
I'm not saying that I wouldn't let my wife go to the beach in a bikini.
You
but
make
I wouldn't-
extra
I wouldn't-
tips.
I wouldn't
Let's pull up
want-
her-
You make
I wouldn't
ex-
want-
All right, because this is about to get crazy. Let's go ahead and stop it there. There's already so many crazy things. If you didn't catch her, the woman who they're speaking to, that is the bikini barista, if you didn't hear, she dropped the P word, the P-U-S-S-Y word, right? So the thing is, whether you believe in God or not, excuse me, if you are professing to be a Christian, there is a way that you're supposed to conduct yourself and portray yourself. We're not human. We're not saying you're supposed to be perfect, but the way you portray yourself. They're going to eventually get to her Instagram. Mind-blowing, this woman's Instagram. But we'll get there when we get there. She's not speaking like a Christian. Saying, vulgar words like that, vulgarity, speaking with vulgarity, is not portraying yourself as if you're a Christian, right? And again, you're not supposed to be, we're not perfect. We're all a work in progress. But you're on camera and you're loosely speaking that way, right? She asks, so if you're a Christian, you shouldn't be at the beach in a bikini? No, you shouldn't. I understand in 2023, that's considered hardcore. That's considered super intense. It's not, right? It's traditional roles. It's always been understood, but now people are blurring the lines. Easy answer. No, you shouldn't do that.
Her
Pull up Instagram.
working in a
Just-
bikini.
Not you don't want the what's
No.
wrong with Instagram?
You make extra tips for being in the bikini, and
I'm just
so
just a show.
shaming sex workers, like you're basically a stripper, so I don't understand
A
why.
stripper, yeah, because I touch
don't
people and
think
I
that's
dance
fair.
on people for money.
Do you
I
have
don't
a
think that's
problem?
fair.
Just
She's
like,
not-
did
she's
you have
not
a
a
man?
stripper.
Did you have a man that like cheated on you with
No,
a stripper?
in fact, I had a really good father that raised me to have morals.
Me too, and he's watching, and he's very proud of
Here,
me for my
it
accomplishments.
is
I pay
to
his
some
rent,
degree- here.
so thank you very much, babe.
Okay, so for you, you said in your pre-show notes to us, most people don't date for marriage anymore. It's extremely hard to find a traditional wife-husband who wants to raise their children under biblical values.
Yeah.
Now, I guess my question for you is, how do you reconcile that statement with the fact that you are a bikini barista and don't appear all that traditional in your social media presence? And that's why I wanted to, if we can, pull up the Instagram, just
Well, it depends on what you mean by
ahead, Nick.
traditional. Traditional to me means submitting to your husband. Traditional to me means being a good Christian. It means being a
How
good
can
about-
you
wife.
find
but
one
what
if
about
you're-
modesty?
What do you mean? I am modest.
In the modesty in
Currently,
appearance.
but
Nick,
like while you're at
My
workplace.
my actions, I am a very, very modest person.
Sex work is not modest.
I'm not
she's
in
not,
sex
she's
work.
not, she's not a sex worker,
Don't-
but
Technically.
look,
I'm
to
definitely. I would never
she
touch
makes-
someone
Please
for money.
don't-
I
don't
would never
straw
do
man.
anything gross like that for money. I'm good.
Okay, so wait, let's just make sure that the consumers, right, are able to actually process and digest the very thing that we're talking about. So let's think about what she just said. She said it depends on what your definition of traditional is. It depends on what your definition of modesty is. Modesty, those words literally have meanings. It reminds me, last night I was talking to someone and she goes, well, that's your truth. And I was like, come on now, we was having a good conversation, don't do that. And she was like, what do you mean? You don't get your own truth. You don't get to pick and choose what's true for me and what's not true for you. Like, that doesn't make sense. There's only the truth. We don't own the truth. The truth is just the truth, right? And she goes, well, I mean, you're going to have your opinion. I'm going to have mine. Right. We have different opinions, but we don't have our own truths. I said, name something that will be true for you, but not true for me. She goes, well, I'm a woman. You think that's was that your answer? You've been a woman is the truth. It's not true for me. No, that's also true for me that you're a woman. The truth says that you're a woman. Right? That you don't own that. That doesn't make any sense, right? So this woman here is taking the word modest that has its own definition, literally. Traditional has literally its meaning as it pertains to Christians, Christian morals. The scriptures literally speak to this. And here she is talking about she's modest in her behavior. Only behavior and not the way you dress makes you modest? What are we talking about?
what was your name again?
Savannah.
Savannah. To Brian's point, look, you're a beautiful woman. You're intelligent.
Thank
I think
you.
you're well spoken.
Thank you.
You're welcome. To Brian's point, I haven't seen your social media. It sounds like is there an abundance of bikini pics?
Yes.
Here, we'll pull it up just for.
Okay.
I'm proud of my body. Like,
Scroll
there's
down
nothing. The thing
Look
is
at
that
this.
everybody associates nudity to sexuality, and to me,
Lord have
it's
mercy.
not the same.
We must stay focused, brothers. We
and
must
if you're lusting
stay
over me,
focused.
that is your.
Look at that. I'm just going to stop there. Yo, look at this picture right here. I'm going to zoom in right there. Look at that. She said everyone mistakes nudity and always equates nudity for sexuality, for sexual. What are you talking about, woman? Why are you posting those types of pictures? What are we talking about here? Listen, and I want to say this early on, because the elephant in the room, first of all, the guy Brian, who is the host of this podcast, I'm 100% convinced that he knows what I'm about to say already, but he still decided to bring her onto his podcast for content purposes. And that, I respect him for doing it because it's going to make great content. But he already knows this, but prior to her coming onto the podcast. This woman is not a Christian. Listen, you can entertain this foolishness all you want. You're not going to waste my time. She's not a Christian. We know she's not a Christian, right? This is a woman, and I'm tapping into my little bit of my psychological, I have a degree in psychology. So I'm going to tap into some things that I learned about the psychology and just the human brain and the ways of humans. What you're witnessing here is a manipulator and a woman who's conflicted and confused. What I mean, she knows what she's doing is not that of a Christian person. She understands that already. But what she's doing is she was raised in a household where she was taught to believe in Jesus. And she thinks that Jesus was a pretty cool guy. Right? Most people can agree that Jesus was a pretty cool person, right? The problem is Jesus wasn't only a person, Jesus was God. Jesus is God, right? She's conflicted because she was raised on those morals, which makes this that much more scary because she was raised by both parents, right? She was raised by both parents to believe in Jesus Christ. But she's so attractive, and if you're asking me based on these pictures, I could be wrong. It appears to me that she's had some work done on her body. That even adds to the whole point that you're doing this for a reason. Then you're posting pictures that are extremely sexual, particular angles, showing off almost your entire body. This person is not Christian. They're a person who does not follow any of the Christian ways, but just believes that Jesus is a cool person. Let's call it out for what it is. Look at this crowd. What are we talking about here? Let's call a spade, bro.
Or that is
that
your sin.
This I completely disagree with. Hold on one second. Okay, so Brian, what was her statement about finding it difficult to find?
Most people don't date for marriage anymore. It's extremely hard to find a traditional wife husband who wants to raise their children under biblical values.
Okay, so
how do you reconcile that
I'm
statement?
saying this with all due respect.
Yeah.
I genuinely respect you.
Thank you.
As a traditional Christian man who wants a traditional Christian wife, to be quite frank, if I saw your Instagram page, immediately I would write you off as a non-traditional, non-Christian woman. I would assume that you weren't Christian. When I see a woman's Instagram page and I see bikini pictures all over the place, showing off the booty, all that kind of stuff, I'm like, yo, this is the exact opposite of modesty. And I'm not interested in that. And I would argue that you are probably making it much more difficult on yourself to find the kind of man that your heart longs for by living this kind of lifestyle where you're posting these images of yourself. Because I know a lot of traditional Christian dudes, a lot of them, across the board, they want modesty in women, and they would not classify that Instagram page as modest.
Sure, that's fine. I'm not really looking for a husband, though. I was just stating that it is hard.
What the?
Psychologist. So, yeah, I probably struggle with psychology.
Wait, hold up. Hey, yo, babe. Have you seen my basketball? No? Okay, well, I'm about to go hoop with the homies, and they calling me. And they've been calling me for the last hour saying if I found my basketball and I don't know where it is. Well, honey, have you looked for it? Have I looked for it? No, I haven't actually looked for it. Oh, great point. I have to actually look for something to actually try to find it, right? You said that it's hard to find a husband, but you're not looking for a husband. The quote that Brian just read off said that what she said prior to coming onto the podcast, she said, hey, one of the things that I've noticed is that it's very difficult to find a Christian-like husband in today's society. Then she goes here and says, but she's not looking for one. That reveals a couple of things. One, how is it hard when you're not looking? Well, that actually makes perfect sense. It's hard because you're not looking. But let's talk about that. Why are you not looking for a husband? Not saying that every person should be looking for a husband at every point in their life, but I would like to think if you're a Christian and you believe in Christian morals, you are aspiring to be married. Why would you not be looking for a husband? What is it about your lifestyle that you're so content about What is it that what attention are you receiving right now that you're so content about where you don't need a husband in your life right now? With an Instagram page like that, let's talk about it. And for those of you, I always like to say this as well, this is not an anti-woman podcast. This is not an anti-female podcast. This is a truth podcast, right? I go in, it's a pro-truth podcast. I am a pro-truth person, right? I'd like to call out hypocrisies and the problems in society, both on with the men and the women, right? Call a spade a spade.
Part of the
Can I ask
reason
how
why
that's
it's
not-
hard is because I think you're making it harder on yourself with the job that you work and also with your Instagram presence.
Okay, sure, that's valid.
Then isn't it using sexualization to get money?
No, I'm not doing anything sexual at all.
You literally are in a bikini with your ass out getting tips. I know how it works.
Mic drop. And it always helps when you have another woman who's calling out other women for doing that, because a lot of times you'll hear men will never understand. If a man is saying that he's misogynistic, he's sexist, he's a woman hater, when we're none of those things, right? We're just calling a spade a spade. The same way we would do for men. We call out hypocrisies for men. We're going to call them out for women as well. So it's refreshing to see another woman up there calling her out on her obvious BS.
He wants to
Okay.
smoke.
Well, I just
Yeah, like, okay, are you
I
not?
do get tips just like
Can you
strippers
not
get
be
tips.
a bikini, be in a bikini and be
No,
a
I'm not-
Christian?
Yeah,
Like,
no,
what the
yeah,
fuck?
no.
Azure,
But-
it's Azure, right?
but this
I
is
give
a
you.
It is.
I
Look,
give
it's
you
not
credit.
modesty.
You
It's
want the
not
Well,
smoke
it
from
depends on your
everybody.
definition of
Well,
modesty.
okay, so my definition.
In Europe, it's considered modest,
so
right? Like you go out onto a beach, you're naked. That's
Savannah,
fine.
Savannah.
Yeah.
Sounds
you're-
like it's
Savannah.
just
Hold
on
on, hold on,
the
hold on, hold on, hold on.
That's not when you're
Savannah,
getting tipped.
hold on, Savannah. You're
I'm
saying,
getting tipped to make coffee.
ladies, please,
with your ass out.
please
So don't
stop.
shame workers. That's all.
She
I'm
wants
saying.
Not
the smoke.
sex work. Holy
the
shit.
smoke.
It's very. It's
It's not. I'm not touching
it's a-
anyone for money. You're lusting after me. I'm not doing shit. I'm making coffee.
You, Savannah, are eliciting lust from men by dressing
It's
this
their
way.
fault for
Well, that's the
No.
same thing. then
No,
would be-
that's like putting your breasts in a man's
Yeah, but that's
face
the
and being
same
like, "Why are
argument
you
as a
looking at
stripper.
them?"
No,
Why are-"
it's not.
Yes,
I
it
would
is.
never do
You're
that.
You're flaunt. You literally do it
They
for a living.
come
You flaunt
through
your
my
body.
coffee stand.
Hang on,
Like,
let me
that's
ask this.
their-
Let me ask this. What's the distinction when you say they're lusting after me? Couldn't the stripper make the same argument?
Yeah, except for a stripper's touching and doing sexual
Okay, so-
acts.
so-
hang on, hang on.
It seems like
There's
you're
a
just like
big
trying to
difference.
find a
Stripper-
way.
No, not a big difference. It's a big difference between you being a bikini barista and strippers that are dancing on people. You do realize that there are strip clubs, from what I hear and what I've heard over the years, because I've never been to one, don't ever care to go to any, that there are strip clubs that are hands off. No hands, no touch policy. You are literally a stripper. You are dressed down to the bare minimum, lady. Like your nipples and your private part is the only thing covered. Why are you wearing a bikini? That's the question. Why are you wearing a bikini then? Why not wear regular clothes and be a barista? Because it generates more tips. Why does it generate more tips? Because you're gonna have people, looking to get with you, right? Hoping that their tip will encourage you to let them take you out. We know how this works. They're trying to impress you because you're so attractive to them. Duh.
The stripper
So-
No,
never
there's a
touched
fine
him.
line between.
Let's say the
using
stripper
your-
never touched him, ever, never touched any of the Johns. Just showed up and shook her ass. That's all she did.
Sure, I don't do that.
Yeah, but let's say that's all she did, okay? She's not touching anybody now.
Sure.
She's using her sexualization to make money, just like you are, right?
No.
What's the distinction then?
The difference is that you're dancing and you're shaking your ass and you're doing that to elicit a feeling to get money, right?
And what is the
Right?
bikini for?
So the bikini,
Exactly.
no.
It seems like you're trying to like.
No. That question would have ruined everything. What is the bikini for? You should have let her answer that. No.
Wait, hold on.
Justify the reason
One
why.
sec.
Oh my gosh.
I am a Christian, but I think women should be head of household. I am all for women with stake in the game, but the sword penetrates the chalice, not the other way around. We see reality.
Real.
Yo, thank you, Bellman. Appreciate it.
What does that mean?
Look, this whole idea that like it's on men to control their lust. Yes, okay, I agree. Men have the responsibility to control their lust, but women also have a responsibility to not elicit that lust from men
By what
and
I'm wearing.
By you
to
choosing.
be specific.
Yes.
By
Savannah,
what I am wearing.
Savannah, come on. If there's two women and one is
So am I
wearing-
eliciting that when I
Please
go
let
to
me
the beach
speak.
with my
Please
bikini?
let me
Okay,
speak.
I apologize.
Thank you. If there's two women and one of them is wearing a modest dress and the other woman is wearing a bikini that shows off her breasts and her butt, Obviously, men are going to lust. They're more likely to lust after the woman that's in a bikini with all of her curves showing. She is making a choice to wear something that shows off her body. She is going to elicit lust. Do you concede that?
I agree, but that is also not my responsibility to be responsible for your lustful thoughts.
That's fine. You can say it's not your responsibility, but just don't call yourself traditional or modest.
Well, let me ask this a different way.
You're not.
That's fair.
Inside of your capacity as a bikini barista, can you name a single virtue of being a bikini barista? What is a single virtue? What about it is in any way virtuous?
I'm not going to answer that. Like, I don't know.
In other words, that's a really great question. You're the person that I probably should speak to the least on this podcast because you're annihilating me every time you get a chance to speak. So because you asked me this question that makes perfect sense, I'm not going to answer it because if I answer it honestly, I'm going to make a fool of myself and I'm going to expose the person that I am. I'm not a Christian, right? I'm living a life. I'm extremely beautiful and I'm torn between getting the attention that I've learned over the years that I can get by being a woman, let alone an attractive woman. I'm torn between that and living this life of guidelines and morals that Jesus Christ has asked us to live. That's where you are. You're exploiting your beauty for attention and now money. You don't want to admit that. Mic drop.
What you're trying to get out of that question.
Okay, so if a guy,
it's not a job that I enjoy doing. It's not like it's my dream job. I have two college degrees.
Do you aspire to be
the
Proverbs 31 wife?
I don't know.
Well, you agree that
I may not get
Christianity,
married.
just to follow up on this, you agree that Christians need to be virtuous, right?
Sure, yeah, absolutely.
What are the virtues of being a bikini barista?
I never said that there was virtues of being a bikini barista.
But when you're asked specifically to say, hey, listen, it's not my problem that these guys over here they all want to put their hands all over me. They can't, but they want to, and that's why I make extra money.
I mean, that happens when I have clothes on,
they're doing
too.
something wrong. That's insane.
No, that's fine, but
Wait. We really have to just hone in on something that she just said. One, she said, I don't know, I may not get married. Once again, let's think about this, right? This is a person who said that they're a Christian. He asked, does she want to be, I believe, the Proverbs 31 woman, which means a modest woman, which is what the scriptures describe how women should be in society. She says that she doesn't know. Wait, you're Christian, which means the Holy Bible, but you don't believe in the things in the Bible. How'd that work? Why don't you want to be married? I'm still trying to figure that part out. You're a Christian that does not want to be married. Okay.
That's a hypocrisy, and there's no virtue. There's no virtue.
Yeah. We can agree to disagree on that. But men want to do the same thing when I have clothes on too. I could be wearing a potato sack, and men would still want to do that.
Sure, yeah, absolutely, because men have sex drives. But if you're wearing a bikini, it is going to stimulate a man's sex drive.
Then that's
anything
just
like stimulate a man's sex drive. Should I wear a hijab then?
No, you don't have to wear a hijab.
I prefer a burqa, to be honest.
You don't have to, but Savannah, just like it's a man's job, it's a man's responsibility to control his lust. It's also a woman's responsibility. If she calls herself a traditional modest Christian, do not inspire lust.
Quick question: if you start dating a guy, your boyfriend or your husband, if he requested you take down those photos, would you oblige him?
Absolutely.
Okay, all right.
Do you think it might improve if you were interested in dating, do you think it might improve your dating prospects in the traditional Christian male pool to remove those photos?
Yeah, it probably would. But the thing is that I'm not dating right now. I'm not interested in dating right now.
Translate. Let me just give y'all some game. A lot of you all already know this because you're older, but if you are young and you are listening to this podcast right now, please listen to me. When a woman tells you, or when a person tells you, but more times than not, you're going to hear this more so from women because women control the sexual pool. What do I mean by that? Right? Women can have sex every day of the year if they chose to, just by being a woman. Every day of the year. Most men on this planet cannot pull that off. Period. That's just what it is. Women are what are being pursued. Men are the pursuers, right? But let's think about what she just said. She's not looking for anything serious right now. She's just doing her own thing. As a person who says that they're Christian. As a reminder, as a person who has Jesus Christ in her bio, let me tell you about that. Translation. I get enough attention from the guys that talk to me. They help me get the needs and the necessities and the wants in my life already, whatever my vices are, they, assist in helping me or cover that bill for me. And I enjoy my life right now. There are multiple men that pursue me, and they're willing to give me what I want. And I'm experiencing and I'm benefiting from that right now. So maybe when I get a little bit older and I'm not as attractive and I'm not being pursued as much, then I'll think about settling down. But right now, even as a Christian, I'm going to live my life. Doesn't make any sense.
I'm just living
What
my
I'm
life
curious
and having
about
fun.
still, if you just don't mind one last follow-up.
And then I'm going to bring Selena finally in.
My big curiosity here still is I'm caught up on this idea that you have no responsibility. I have
crazy.
no responsibility. It's their responsibility for the
Muslims
because
would say
hang on,
Let him finish his
finish.
point. No interrupting.
National donated $200. Azir's only W all night. She's right. You are basically a stripper, just like in states that don't allow female strippers to strip nude.
Yeah.
No difference. You just want to feel different from the of girls.
Whatever you say.
Yeah, well, in this case, this super chatter hits the nail on the head. And what the super chatter is saying is the same thing I'm going to tell you or ask you, which is, why couldn't anybody engage in sex work?
Grid One Motorsports donated $200.
Yeah, thank you, Grid One. Appreciate it, man.
I leave you alone for a few minutes, and wow. To Savannah,
wild.
would you make the same tips if you were in a modest dress?
Right. Well, this gets to the heart of it real quick. So all of the women who are involved in any kind of sex work, you realize, can use this same exact argument you just did, which is to say the responsibility is 100% on the John. If he wasn't coming to have sex with us, then
that's true, but I don't like that example because you're giving her an easy out. This woman has not made much sense. She doesn't, respectfully, she doesn't come off as the most intellectual person. She hasn't made much sense most of this podcast. When you do things like that, you're giving her an easy out. Well, how? Because, sex workers are making physical contact, not to mention having intercourse with these people. Her argument is that she's not even physically touching people. So she has a point there. Let's just stick to the basics. Simple sometimes is the most effective. You're exploiting your body for money. Literally in public for money. Which is how many strippers make their money. All strippers don't touch people. You're literally doing the same thing. You're just giving them coffee instead of a cocktail. How'd that work?
Wouldn't even be a prostitute, would I?
No,
if the
'cause
John wasn't coming in to watch me strip,
You're
I wouldn't even be able to
consenting
strip,
that
would I?
action. You're doing a
shifting-
sexual
hang on, let me-
action.
just
So
let
are
me
you.
finish the
No,
point.
I'm not. What am I doing that's
You're
sexual?
making coffee in a bikini.
That's not
inherently
sexual.
sexual.
And
you
Yes,
get
it
tips.
is.
No, it's
You
not.
get-
Why
you
does
get
it- why-
paper
I'm not
dollar
dancing
tips
on
like
someone, I'm
every
not
other
touching
stripper.
somebody, I'm not doing anything.
Why would a woman walk into her bedroom on her wedding night in lingerie for her husband?
Lingerie
Because that
and bikinis are
lingerie
very
is inherently
different.
sexual. They're very different in the sense that there's lace on it and it's different
No,
materials, but
no.
you're showing off
I'm
the curves
covered.
of your body
No,
to
yeah.
stimulate your
So-
man's
so you
sexual
want-
Might
drive.
as well just go to the beach and
So you
lingerie.
want them
then,
to
right?
believe.
the men who are buying coffee are tipping you in dollars like strippers.
Because this will make your point too.
No.
They're coming
That's
to
like-
get
You
coffee
honest-
because you're in a bikini.
Yeah, you
they could go to a
honest-
better coffee shop.
Then that's their issue.
Well,
but
could
I'm
you
making
honestly
coffee.
say that
But
Like,
you
you're-
know
that's my-
exactly why
Yeah.
you work that job to make more money
It's
in
the
tips.
same reason
Yeah,
you're
I gotta
posting
make more money.
bikini photos on your Instagram to solicit
Yeah,
sexual
can you honestly
attention.
say that your employer was like, I want you to wear a bikini because it's really hot in here?
I don't give a shit what my employer
Is that
thinks.
what your employer was like? I want you to wear a
I
bikini
don't
because
give a
it
shit.
gets up to like 90 and I want you to be cool while you're working. Why do you think your employer wants you to wear a bikini while
That's
you're serving
their
coffee?
responsibility. If they come through because
Yeah,
they
but
want
why do
coffee
you think
or
he
they
does?
want to look at my ass,
but
that's
why do you
their
think he does?
responsibility.
If you want a husband one day and you're a Christian, work at Starbucks.
Nah, I'm good. They support abortion.
Okay.
Wait.
Well, find another hometown coffee
And you
shop.
support sex work, so.
No, I don't. That's literally not sex.
So just real quick, man, we're going to wrap this video up by saying the obvious. Listen, this person is not a Christian. They're misleading, but there's a bigger purpose of reacting to this video, and that is to tell people Savannah is not the issue. The issue is there are many people that are just like Savannah, and many of them in this world are women. What do I mean? Wolf in sheep's clothing. They tell you that they're one thing, and you literally see their actions. Most of their actions are contradicting or contradictory to the very thing that they say that they are, right? And you're conflicted. You don't know how to feel, but you're hearing them. So you want to go along for the ride. It's like, I'm telling you, I'm taking you to Walmart, but I'm going somewhere else. I'm going the opposite direction. It's like, okay, but I'm going to trust you. Maybe you have a different route of how to get to Walmart, but I know it's just right down the street this way. No. These people are manipulators, right? Again, it's not about being perfect, but if you are something, you're going to at least try your best to portray yourself to be that very thing. If you told me you were a bikini model and I go to your Instagram, I will believe you. Easily, I will believe you. That wouldn't be hard to fathom. But if you told me you're a Christian woman and I go to your Instagram, you're literally trying to look the opposite of a Christian woman. What are we talking about? If you just look at her, she's cursed at least, I would say, about 10 times. She's used profanity like 10 times on the episode. Boom. She's wearing very heavy makeup. She's wearing fake eyelashes. Her hair may even be fake. And I'm not saying wearing makeup makes you an evil person, but when you get all of those, take all those things into account, this is not a Christian. Watch out for people like this, because many guys are willing to date women like this, and they'll hope that these women will change. They won't. Same thing for women. If you date a man that is not consistent with the things that he say that he is, leave the man alone. Dodge those type of men. Hop in the comments. Give me your thoughts. Subscribe to my other channels. I really, really appreciate you, man. Like the video. Until next time, man. Peace.
Oh yeah, Diddy got a podcast.